Hello, welcome to another episode of the Profit Point Show, where we talk about trade, investment, and how you can fit into the economic space using your investment, your funding, and everything that you want to put into it so that you can be grounded and make profit for yourself. My name is Charity James. The program starts now with the business review segment, and on this segment we'll be talking about some key strategies that a business starter can use to be grounded, especially when it comes to investment. We'll start that immediately after this break. All right, key investment strategies for business starters is the topic, and our guest is Shoyemi Shoyinka, a financial consultant, advisor, and someone who has been in the field, seen a lot of mistakes that business starters do, and we want to use this topic to correct a lot of them. And now we want to talk to Shoyinka on the program. Good morning, Mr. Shoyinka.
Good morning. It's nice to be on your program again today.
Thank you. Now let's start with the big question. What is the biggest of all mistakes that someone does when it comes to investment, especially for those who are coming into the business sector and new? A lot of people who are there have realized their mistakes and they want to correct it. But for starters, business starters, what are the mistakes that you think they have done over the years that we want to correct?
Thank you very much. It's very, very unfortunate that most business starters usually start on a very wrong note. It's a very great calamity for anybody to venture into a space where he or she has little or no knowledge of such environments. There is no magic to making it well in business or excelling in business, apart from having to understand the fundamentals of the business, knowing the loopholes and the entire or the holistic business. So for anyone that wants to venture into any form of business, these keys are very, very fundamental. Such a way that person or such an investor must be very, very versatile in those areas, must have an in-depth understanding of the environment he wants to play. In the absence of this, then one is doomed for business failure.
Okay, now let's talk about the trends now. A lot of starters want to follow coming group, and they want to use their ideas to form whatever community they want to form, and so they are not having a lot of experiences, and so they follow trend based on their own experience. What investment trend should aspiring entrepreneurs should pay attention to over the next 5 years? According to what financial consultants like you have said, you give your business a lifetime. From this period to this period, I must achieve this from your business plan. So if they want to get it right within the next 5 years, what should be the trend they must follow?
Okay, thank you very much again. Maybe I should quickly list out some basic keys or ingredients that every potential investor really needs to equip it. It's what I call understanding the business environment. You need to have in-depth understanding of the business environment you want to operate. You don't just jump into any business because somebody is doing it or because you understand that it's a business that is thriving, without really having the fundamentals behind the business. So it is important that one, you must have an in-depth knowledge of the environment which you want to operate. Another very, very germane thing that you also need to do, you need to do your own research, back-end research. in such a way that you need to develop a very clear investment plan. Very clear investment plan. I tell people most times, especially people that are interested in going into investments, that money or finance or capital should be the last thing you should push that you intend to go into. So a very clear business plan will help you to foresee future occurrence, future opportunities, future risk, and all of that. So that will help you to manage one, your time of investment. You also have knowledge of investment. You will also help you manage your risk level, which is also very, very important. You don't jump into a business where you are not conversant with inherent risk. So every business opportunity risks. So you must have a holistic knowledge of that risk value level. Again, it's also important that you must have the capital requirement. How much do you really need to invest into this kind of business? So you don't start a business when you don't have any knowledge of how much capital that's required, so that you don't just at the middle point, you get stop. So a very clear and robust business plan that articulates time horizon, that looks at risk level, that looks at capital requirements, will help you a lot in defining the kind of business that you want to do. Again, it's also very important to note that for anyone that wants to venture into business or investment, you must conduct research. So this is one part that most potential investors fail to do. You must conduct a detailed market research. There's an opportunity for you to do an in-depth analysis of the market. And this will help you to manage, to have an understanding about, one, which problem you want to solve. Because the most important thing you must know that if you are going to a new business, you are only going there to solve an existing problem, right? And you must have an understanding of that business that you intend to solve. And by you solving that problem, you're automatically making money in the environment. So you must have an understanding of that. You must also have or define your client base. Who do you want to sell to? Who are you trying to address in the market? You can't say you want to sell to the holistic market. You must define the market that which you intend to operate. It's also very, very important that while you are carrying out your market research, you must also have an understanding of your competitors. What are the current competitors doing? How can you play along? Are you in the market to compete, or are you in the market to just to take a portion of it? This will help you. Then it's also very important again, but very, very important. So you must also have relationship with regulators. You can't be going to an FMCG environment now, and you will not have to do to register your product. So you need to have an understanding of the regulatory environment. Most importantly, pricing is also another thing you must also be able to do. So your research will bring out all of this information, and it will help you to determine if the job is worthwhile or not. Again, apart from having a clear investment plan, doing a very robust market research, it's also very, very important for you, again, to have a strategy, a very holistic strategy around your sales and marketing. Another major pitfall for investors or investors that work with the market is they don't have clear goals. They don't usually have clear strategy around sales and marketing. So most times I advise people as advisors and consultants that you must first of all give me detail and about how you intend to sell, how you intend to market. How do you intend to do your distribution and all of that? That, to me, is very, very important, because if you produce either goods or services, you must have the capacity to distribute and to sell at the same time. So it's very, very important that all venture is very business. Again, of utmost important is the finance that you also need to do. You need to also be able to find a way to manage your finance, to capital, and all of that. You don't just throw money into business. Most times, when you throw money into business and you try to use money to address every inherent problems, you get deeper into more problems.
Okay, thank you for that in-depth analysis of what they should do. Now let's look at one very, very cogent angle to all of this investment. A lot of entrepreneurs who are just coming in will want to make profit almost immediately they start the business, and these sometimes give them a pitfall and limit their scope when it comes to expanding. So let's look at the balance between profitability and long-term investment goal. How do these young entrepreneurs balance this when it comes to getting profit and investing into the business for sustainability?
Thank you. So there are different investments, comes with different investment timeline. Or again, I said it's important that you must define the time that you intend to invest. So once that is being started, so you can either declare as a form of a short-term investment, probably you are looking at investing maybe in a very short time, short time to mid time, 1 to 3 years, and all of that. Or you intend to stay in the business for as long as possible, so you have this continuity mindset. So that will help you to determine what kind of investment. So take for instance, if you are just a short-term investor, whereas you are looking at just catching opportunities in the market, then what is available for you is you can either play in the capital market, where you can invest in your liquidity, short-term, investment product, and even commercial papers and all that. Again, if you are looking at investing in the long-term business environment, again, you can also play in the capital market. But if you are more like a business startup and you want to set up your investment, you want to set up a company, or you want to set up a firm, you want to set up a company, it's important that you must have an holistic timeline in mind. And so in having this holistic timeline, all of this research that you must have conducted will help you a lot in understanding this. So that in itself will also help you in knowing how to throw funds into those investments. So take for instance an entrepreneur that wants to set up a bakery business somewhere in Abeokuta, right? So it should have been expected that you must have had an understanding of the bakery business, holistically in the country, how it's doing. Then you must also have knowledge of business within your local environment, opportunities, potentials that are there, and the risks that are also inherent. And mindset that there's no way you go into a business of big 1 year to recoup your capital. That may if you have set within your market or time frame that okay, I want to do this business for 10 years, then that can become more of a capital investment where you need to inject capital to buy some fixed equipment, fixed asset, ovens, and all of that. Then you don't expect your return to come in once. So you need to look at returns here and there, month to month, and all of that. Until probably maybe after 5 years, where you will now be able to have the opportunity to have recouped all of your investment and all of that. So it is important to know the timeline that you intend to stay alongside the opportunities and the risks that are in the business.
All right, thank you. Now let's talk about some liability and asset when it comes to business. At what point will a business owner know that this thing I'm doing is a liability to my business? The signs that will be there, how the business will be looking like, and for people like you, you said that there's a healthy business life and there's an unhealthy business life. What are the things that you must do to ensure that you are not becoming a liability while you think you are an asset to the economy?
Well, it's also another, it's a challenge, upcoming SMEs and the investors, in the sense that most times they want to come into the market with the mindset, with the push that they want to do business and all of that. So realistically, they try to leave out some very, very cogent areas where they ought to have, deliberated upon carefully. And some of these, I've seen, a struggling business venture that came in sometimes last year, pumping all the funds, brought out all the things, started paying salary and all of that. But somehow they realized that it was already running on loss. So that business kind of started on a loss making. And it would have been better if it had the trajectory of or the possibility of making positive returns in the future. But again, it didn't last. Realize that passion enough is not enough. Push is not enough. You must be strategic. You must know your onions very well. It's also very, very important that such investor must always take account of both inflows and outflows and all of that. So being a finance person and a finance background, I also try to advise and make sure that you are always tracking your inflows, you are tracking your outflows. Very, very important. What you are spending, are you spending from your capital or are you spending? You must be able to define that. Unfortunately, most of them spends from their capital, right? So you cannot continue to run by spending continuously on your capital. So at every point in time, you must have a proper record. You must keep proper record to show you exactly where you are at every point in time. And if you are running on deficit, then it's also help you to keep your strategy, keep your plan, and see how you can turn that around to operate in a positive position.
Okay, so the inflow is very, very important. Is that what you're saying? Okay, now let's talk about the government.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about government policies. A lot of times when starters want to start, they do not look at what is obtainable on policies that guides business running or what they should do when it comes to ensuring that the government policy are favorable to them. So sometimes they run foul of government laws and regulation and in turn affects them as they grow on the business line. So what government policies do you think entrepreneurs who are just coming into the business sector should look at for? How should they obtain the right regulation, follow the right regulation, and obtain the right law and backings or anything they need to obtain for the growth sustainability of their business?
Okay, so one very good thing that the government of Ogun State is doing is actually in the area of supporting SMEs, starters, investors, and all of that. I'm sure you must have heard about Ogun Invest. So that's the Ogun State Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency. So it's positioned in the state as one of Nigeria's investment destinations. Unfortunately, a lot of noise are not around what they are doing. So it is important that those upcoming investors, proposed investors, should, as a matter of urgency, have a relationship with them. They are there to guide, to lead, and to support. So you can't just be a lone player or a lone range in the field. You need agencies like that. So part of what they help a prospective investor to do is to put them through all of the regulatory requirements. They don't have an understanding of the regulatory environment. They support them. A lot of support within the agricultural production, FMCG, technology, and infrastructure. That's what they are doing there. As well, I think it's important that agencies like that should come out more to telling investors, prospective investors, especially those that are within Lagos, within Ogun State, they have a potential, they have an opportunity to benefit from such agency. But unfortunately, noises are not made around there. But I can tell you that they are doing a lot in terms of supporting entrepreneurs, in terms of supporting SMEs, and upcoming investors. So again, it's also very important that investors must also know the environment they intend to operate. I've said that before. And one of the reasons why it's important for them to know the environment they operate is because they also need to know what are the government rules, what are the rules, what are the rules and regulations that bind that industry. Do they need to register with, with a regulator and all of that? Imagine if you are running a business within a FMC, you need to register. SOL is there, Standard Organization of Nigeria is there. You need to register with those organizations. You must be licensed. You must be given the rights to operate within that space. So you must have an in-depth and detailed research analysis that will help you in knowing what to do, what not to do in terms of registration, so that at the end of it, you don't go foul of the law. Again, most of these guys, most of these upcoming investors, we usually have started business and they now realize that, oh, I don't even know that I'm supposed to register with this organization. I don't even know that I'm supposed to have a license from all of these organizations. It's not actually they are trying to play smart, but it's because they lack the knowledge and the understanding to knowing that from the onset. So it's good that you must have the basic understanding. And another area is when you decide to go to the agency, invest is there to support you. You can also look around for investors, consultants. You have investment consultants all around.
Okay. All right, Mr. Shoyemi Shoyinka.
You don't run foul of the law. Take for instance, SMEs, most SMEs will start off without putting proper structure in place as far as tax, for instance, is concerned. You register your business, you're expected to get your tax identification number, you're expected to remit your tax, and all of those things. So you need somebody who is versatile within the environment to guide you and to help you so that you don't run foul of the law or the government will not come back and shut you out at the end of the day.
Okay, lastly, before we allow you leave, let's talk about borrowing for funding. As a starter, is it advisable and is it a very wise business decision to borrow before you start your business, or use a borrowed fund while starting your business? In this economic climate, do you advise that?
Okay, thank you very much. Every business requires capital. So one very misconception that I want to take away from the mindsets of our audience today would be that money alone is not the required capital, right? So your intellectual capacity, your experience, knowledge that you have acquired over time, all of these forms your capital. So the liquidity part, can now be looked at holistically. You must have been able to have all of these understandings while you are doing your market research and investment plan and all of that. So basically, I would advise people or investors that are coming into the market, maybe reduce your risk exposure to loan as much as possible. Again, just few investment loans that are actually very, very profitable to business starters and all of that. So if you can find funding away from commercial banks, fine. If you are able to also move facility together, funds together to start with, it's also good. So but the other line is reduce as much as possible your low risk exposure, because that in itself will put a lot of pressure on you while starting the business. So the borderline is look for cheap funds as much as possible. Look for friends, look for neighbors, look for families. Associate yourself with cooperative societies. Join clubs where you can easily have access to cheap facilities. And again, it's also very important that there are organizations set up by even state governments and federal governments. You have several agencies. The Bank of Industry is there. Their main responsibility is to supporting, businesses around the agricultural sector. So you have different funds that are probably that prospective investors can access. So, but by and large, it is important that you must have the need. There must be need for it, and such funding must be some.
Okay, we are having a little delay there due to.
Thank you.
Okay, you're back now. Let's conclude this round of the program by asking for your advice. Advice for entrepreneurs, new people into the business sector, and what you think they should really do before. You have said all of that, but we need to say it again so that whoever that did not join us from the beginning of the program will take this home. What are the tips that you are giving to starters on investment options and the key investment for the business to thrive after them?
Okay, so my final message to the listeners, before you venture into any investment, you must have your investment objective. You must have an understanding of what you intend to achieve at the end of the day. You must have a robust plan, and these plans will help you to identify your objective, your time horizon, the risk that you are about to take, then the capital requirement that is, needed. Again, it's also very, very important that you must do a very, very detailed market research. This market research will help you have an idea of what to expect in the business, the opportunities, the challenges, and all of that. So you'll be able to have all of this via your market research that's being conducted. So again, it's important that you are coming into any business, you are coming into business to come and solve an existing problem. So first, your plan must be able to have that problem identification. Once you identify the problem, then you find a way of addressing it. Also very, very important, you must have a clear plan, a clear sales and marketing strategy. It's very, very key. You don't just produce, you must also be able to distribute your production. You don't just provide services, you must also be able to, look for those that need your services. So you must have a clear marketing plan. And I tell investors, prospective investors, that it's more important that you have a very clear marketing and sales strategy. Very, very important, more important than even having capital. Finally, you need to quickly go and look for loans and all of that. Let that be the last on your table. Look out for available cheap facilities, cheap funds. We expect that you must also have been able to save over time. You have access to family, financing. You have access to cooperatives where they charge, interest in units, digits. Then look for friends, family, just as I've said. The idea basically is just to look out for very cheap source of funding. Then, depending on how that is able to take you, then you can now begin to look out for, funding institutions that can also support. It's important again that the audience must also know about Google Invest. It's a place where they can go to and get more detailed information about how to start business. They are there to support. They are there to guide and to hold your hands as you move on in your investment ladder.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Shoyemi Shoyinka, a financial consultant and advisor who has been able to tell us what we need to do when it comes to key investment strategies for business starters. Thank you for your time on the program. That will be all on the Profit Point Show. We are sorry the second segment will not be coming due to a circumstance beyond our